We're going to talk about Moshe Hogeg, who's an Israeli crypto entrepreneur who's done a number of projects in the past out of Tel Aviv, was arrested, I think, last week on a slew of charges, some of which were pretty hairy, and 7 other people were arrested in connection with that, one of whom was Yaron Shalem. He now works for Celsius as CFO, but it's almost certain that the reason that he was hauled in by the authorities was related to his past work with one of Hogeg's former firms. So it's good to be clear about that. Even though he is the Celsius CFO, it's likely linked to his past involvement with Moshe Hogeg. He was rumored to have been arrested and released. According to a source, he was also, not according to a source. According to a source, before they tweeted it, he was suspended from his job until further information becomes made available. So this is unfolding. This is a bit of a juicy story in the Israeli local press, and it's something that certainly touches the crypto world and some of the networks that exist in the crypto world that may or may not be doing unseemly things. So I'm going to throw this to George. George, when you see a headline such as this, what are your initial thoughts? What should we be thinking of here?
Yeah, my initial thought is that it's great that great that he was arrested, not in conjunction with something he has done at Celsius, given the amount of people that use Celsius and have put their assets into the Celsius ecosystem. It doesn't really help given the amount of heat that Celsius gets from those who don't love the rehypothecation of their assets. A lot of people claim that Celsius takes in Bitcoin, and then the reason that they can give you these high interest rates is because they're lending it out to others at 1 to 10 reserve ratios, which is just remaking the legacy banking system that these kind of companies are trying not to do. I'd say that it's bad that another person is being, tied up in the world of crime and has to do with crypto, just because the perception of everyone thinking that crypto is for criminals. It's somewhat of reputational risk now. I have nothing more to say there, Naomi. I'd love to toss it to you.
Yeah, just going to echo the same point that it's the last thing Celsius needs right now with all of the heat that they're under from various regulatory agencies across the United States. They've had cease and desists in multiple states, and they probably don't appreciate being tied in with all this controversy. He was immediately suspended, and Celsius did confirm that they verified there are no assets that were misplaced or mishandled. So it seems that nothing that he did at Celsius was untoward. It was all past employment. I just wanted to bring up something on the tail end of your point, George, about like interest rates and rehypothecation. I mean, this isn't something that I think people should knee-jerk be against. It's this strange culture that's evolved in crypto where they're like, this is a thing you can never do. The problem that people should have with that happening in traditional banking system is that written on our banknotes, it says that these are redeemable immediately. That's the issue, because that's actually fraudulent. Because if you all, to redeem this immediately, there wouldn't be enough to give you your reserves. And so there's this idea that, it should say like, this is a credit note. You understand that it's not there in a vault waiting for you. So it's kind of like this semantic thing that people should be against. But instead, this has evolved since the Rothbard days to become something different. It's now become like we can never rehypothecate loans. I think if you look at the crypto space, it's a great example of how interest rates work, because interest rates are intrinsically tied to specific markets. If it's a super risky asset, if what you're doing is super risky, you're probably going to get like 40% APY, 100% APY, whatever. It's directly linked to the risk you're taking. Obviously, if Celsius is rehypothecating assets, then they will be able to charge higher because you are taking a risk. I think it's just important that people not knee-jerk against that idea, but they understand fundamentally the risks that they're getting involved with when they deal with a company that does rehypothecate assets. If you're willing to take that risk, if you're willing to do that in exchange for 20% interest, that's awesome. And that's totally according to like your own risk tolerance there. So I did want to make that point because I have seen crypto culture sort of like evolve away from what Rothbard was initially saying with that. But Jen, I'll throw to you because I saw your hand go up.
Yeah, I was going to really say almost the same thing you said about regulators already
you wanted to talk about Rothbard too?
Celsius. No. At the beginning part. I know. About regulators really closely watching Celsius. I think this is going to give them an excuse to get back into Celsius's books and go through with a fine-tooth comb. So I think that it is sad that this is related to Celsius. So we'll see what happens.